PaaS adoption and deployment. How your small business can properly leverage and benefit from cloud transformation. Did you know that 92% of small and mid-sized businesses already use, directly or indirectly, services and products pushed by platform as a service PaaS providers as diverse as Microsoft Azure PaaS, AWS Lambda, Google App Engine, Apache Stratus, and Force.com? If not, your company may be missing out. The earlier your company integrates its systems and processes into PaaS processes, the earlier it can start boosting its productivity, efficiency, and profitability. Check out how successful small businesses are adopting PaaS paradigms and leveraging and benefiting from cloud transformation. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. Today we are talking about PaaS adoption and deployment. How you doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. If you were doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. I want to talk to you about PaaS adoption and deployment, how small businesses can properly leverage and benefit from cloud transformation. Now, let's first understand what PaaS is. Platform as a service is basically a set of cloud computing services that provide companies with software services using the cloud vendor's set of tools, right? So you want to find the PaaS provider that's right for your business because you have a wide area of providers out there and not all of them offer the same services to small businesses. If your business needs change in the future, you don't want to find your business locked into an expensive contract because a lot of those contracts are long-term. Platform as a service, PaaS, is a complete development and deployment environment in the cloud with resources that enable you to deliver everything from simple cloud-based apps to sophisticated cloud-enabled enterprise application. So you can purchase the resources you need from a cloud provider such as Amazon, AWS Lambda, or Google, or you can just pay as you go. So it depends. You can either pay everything up front or have a pay as you go scheme with them. And this allows you to access those PaaS deployment tools over a secure internet connection. Now, like IaaS, PaaS includes infrastructure. I'm talking here about servers, storage, networking, but also middleware. You have development tools, BI services, business intelligence. You have DMS, so database management systems, and more. The great thing here is that PaaS is really designed to support the complete web application lifecycle, which is great, especially for small businesses. I'm talking here, the lifecycle ranges from building all the way to updating. So you have building, testing, deploying, managing, and updating. The cool thing about PaaS also is that it allows you to avoid the expense and complexity here of buying and managing software licenses, the underlying application infrastructure and middleware, container orchestrators such as Kubernetes, or the development tools and other resources. So you can focus on your core business instead of having to hire an entire IT department to manage that for you. So you're managing the applications and services you develop, and the cloud service provider typically manages everything else. So that's the first step. You need to understand what PaaS is. Now you want to learn, in the second step, you want to learn the implications of PaaS adoption. Now, if you adopting a platform as a service delivery model will boost your organization's ability to create services and make them available to clients and stakeholders. And this even goes even further, especially in the era of 5G, because you have capabilities that are multiplied by 10, 20, 30 speeds of downloading and uploading, or even faster. So it's very important. So if your small or mid-sized business has a CIO, a chief information officer, you want to work with his or her department to find the best PaaS provider that will help you reduce cost, produce agile services, and improve, most importantly, the customer experience. Because all that investment in IT and technology that you're doing, the bottom line here is that you want to improve the client experience. Right now, the benefits seem like no-brainers, but it is critical to seriously consider the security implications when adopting a PaaS system. Now, remember that in a typical PaaS paradigm, the customer does not manage or control the underlying cloud infrastructure, and that infrastructure includes everything from networks to servers to operating systems and storage. Now, with PaaS, software patching and other vulnerability related processes are delegated to the cloud provider, which is why earlier I was telling you to find exactly a provider that matches your business needs, because you're going to be locked into a contract for 5 years or 10 years, and that the provider has a lot of authority or a lot of purview over all those vulnerability related processes, right? So the consumer, in other words, your small business, typically has no say in what gets installed. The vast majority of attacks on these systems exploit vulnerabilities for which patches are publicly available. So a good patch management strategy is the first line of defense against these attacks. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Keyword. We're also having a conversation today around platform as a service adoption and deployment, how your small business can properly leverage and benefit from cloud transformation. If you love this kind of content, this sort of IT related content for small business owners, please consider subscribing to our channel. We have an entire series dedicated to this sort of topic, and we drop various shows on various topics every single day, rain or shine. Number 3, you want to find the right solution. Now, a cloud security platform should be designed with secure engineering practices, and you also want to make sure that there are layered security controls around the network and infrastructure. You still want to make sure the cloud security platform that you're signing up for gives your business operations security services that application developers can use to secure their mobile and web apps, right? So you want to talk to a cloud provider, either Google or Amazon or Microsoft or IBM, to make sure that their cloud services take full advantage of the existing security architecture, the latest and brightest security architecture. And through that, you can have multiple overlapping tiers of protection for your applications and data. And you also want to make sure that the provider adds security capabilities at the PaaS layers, not only at the platform level, the data level, but also at the application level. Next, you want to understand key PaaS capabilities and how they apply to your business. Now, you have to understand that as everything moves to the cloud, so does the attack paradigm, the basic attack paradigm, right? Besides traditional attack methods, a new phenomenon recently emerged in which cyber thieves are threatening potential victims with large-scale DDoS, the denial services. The denial services, they are the attack will keep going until the customer pays a ransom, right? This is the case with the DDoS for Bitcoin, which has been active since 2014. So you also have, so what you want to do is you want to talk to your PaaS provider and make sure that they provide a multi-tiered security service, because security services will be a strategic market differentiator for cloud providers. Now, you want to look for, and this is very important, folks, you want to look for a PaaS service that gives you the following. It allows you to scan and analyze mobile applications. Remember, with 5G, a lot of stuff is moving on mobile. Your staff, yourself, your vendors, your suppliers, your customers will be operating more on mobile devices. So you want a service that can scan and analyze mobile applications, that can scan web apps on the internet or private networks, that can perform static analysis to scan source code for security vulnerabilities, right? You want also a PaaS service that can employ single sign-on capabilities, that can drain logs over the syslog TLS, or HTTPS, including all the events related to a single application. Another thing you want to pay attention to, and a lot of people don't talk about that, is to make sure that you have a PaaS service that can help you or your IT department distinguish logs from different instances of the same application, that can encrypt data at rest, that can facilitate secure communication between the application and the database instance, and they can discover sensitive data and stored procedures for masking sensitive data. So likewise, another thing that a lot of experts are saying nowadays, especially when it comes to the cloud transformation process that small businesses have to go through, they're saying that a PaaS platform should equip at a minimum, this is the minimum, IT analysts with a better understanding of security policies, including practices such as source code scanning, dynamic scanning, threat modeling, and penetration testing. They also saying that IT staff should be equipped with the right training and info to document processes for incident management, right? All of these things should help the IT department ultimately to comply with industry standards regarding network security, data encryption, and access control. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're also having a conversation today around PaaS adoption and deployment, how your small business can properly leverage and benefit from cloud transformation. Now, if you love this kind of content, please comment below. Let us know your experience with PaaS, with platform as a service. We really would appreciate that. Share this content, like, and of course, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you are informed in real time whenever we drop a new show. And again, we do these things every single day. We cover other topics, though, not just the IT topics, but we cover a lot of a variety of topics. We are an infotainment show, so we cover everything from business to IT to technology and so on and so forth. Number 5, ensure your team can share resources in space and time. One of the essential characteristics of cloud computing is that resources are shared among multiple users, right? Because everything is in the cloud. And of course, it is beautiful from a productivity standpoint, but from a security standpoint, there is a major concern. Consumers are afraid boundaries might break down and lead to confidentiality or integrity breaches. Every now and then we hear about a big company losing customer data, whether it is a bank or a multinational. So of course, people are scared, and they are right to be scared. Data must be as secure as possible without compromising ease of use and access. Now, when it comes to that, the obvious answer in this case is encryption. But encryption in itself presents a few practical challenges. For example, data needs to be unencrypted to perform searches. You can't perform searches on encrypted data. The results will be 0. Performance could result in catching significant data in memory or even storing the encryption keys in clear text. Now, resources are shared not only in space but also in time, meaning that the very same resource areas allocated for a consumer can be reused at a later time for another consumer. So secure storage, reuse, and secure data disposal are critical here. Another thing that is important, and you want to make sure that your team can share resources in space and time when it comes to cloud transformation, is that one customer's resource usage should not affect other customers. So if you have traditional outsourcing, for example, you can achieve this. You can achieve isolation by maintaining dedicated physical infrastructure, right, for each customer, and wiping clean all shared computers before reuse. Now, some cloud providers, though, would offer resource instances that run on hardware dedicated to a single customer, but this will cause the boundary between cloud computing and platform hosting to shrink significantly and reverse all the advantages that cloud computing was supposed to bring to a small business in the first place, right? So this is something you have to pay attention to. And number 6, you want to ensure your PaaS deployment neutralizes DDoS attacks. That's what I talked about earlier. Distributed denial of service, DDoS attacks. They usually target the availability of a system or a service by saturating resources. Now, most of people in the public know about this. When you're trying to go to a website and the website is so saturated you can't access the website, that's a DDoS attack. Right now, a cloud solution, whatever cloud solution you're trying to get, make sure that that cloud solution has the ability to quickly respond to a changed workload, so the rapid elasticity characteristic and scale outward with demand that will create a natural protection against some attacks. Right, so PaaS solutions are by nature more resilient to attacks. Now, as a side effect, and this is important for small business out there to know, a DDoS attack that activates a spike in elasticity may involve extra unwanted cost. So whether you have a cyber thief attempting to saturate any resource, you're gonna make sure you're gonna see that the PaaS deployment, the PaaS tools will come into effect, and they will kick into gear, acquiring new resources to counter the attack. Right. So one thing that's also important, and I believe it is worth mentioning, that you want to pay for it. Don't try to go for cheap stuff, like, because you have some free PaaS offerings out there. You don't want that, because those are exploited to facilitate automated cloud-based attacks. You always want to pay for your cloud services. You want to hire an established business so that you know exactly what kind of stuff you're getting at the end of the day. Right now, the role played by botnets, which is a key element in the DDoS attacks, is now played by simple cloud offerings. Thousands of micro cloud instances can be provisioned by automated scripts and then used simultaneously to launch a coordinated DDoS attack against a small listing of targets. Right, because at the end of the day, all the bad guys need is an application program interface, an API, to provision cloud platform access to automatically install script, and ultimately a few hours of central processing unit and network bus. That's all they need. And they just need that because they need enough time to create service unavailability before being identified and taken offline. So you want your system to be always available, right? You don't want to have service unavailability, and that's just something that a strong PaaS deployment, a strong PaaS offering can counter. All right, folks, this is the end of today's show. Really appreciate your attention. So today we were talking about PaaS adoption and deployment, how your small business can properly leverage and benefit from cloud transformation. Here are the six steps you need to follow. Understand what PaaS is. Learn the implications of PaaS adoption. Find the right solution. You want to understand key PaaS capabilities and how they apply to your business. You want to ensure your team can share resources in space and time. And you want to ensure your PaaS deployment neutralizes DDoS attacks. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.